We are discussing about the properties of the aggregate, and we have talked about this Los Angeles abrasion test. Is it so?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Los Angeles abrasion test we have discussed. So just to refresh, so this is the Los Angeles abrasion machine. It contains a steel shelf inside it and a hollow cylinder. So you are going to put the aggregates along with the charges, and then you are going to give rotation at the speed of 30 to 33 RPM for 500 revolutions. After which the aggregate sample is removed and is sieved on sieve number 12. Now material retained on the sieve is washed and dried to a constant mass and weighted. The difference between the original mass जो at the start पे था or between the final weight divided by the original weight, that is the Los Angeles brain value. Okay, uh, please write one problem. Find out the Los Angeles brain value. Find out the Los Angeles brain value of a given aggregate sample for the given aggregate sample if the original weight is 5 kilograms and after the test the weight retained on sieve number 12 is 3.5 kilograms. Find out the Los Angeles brain value.
Sir, 30.
Yes, anyone else? Anyone else? यार एक आंसर 30 आ गया, कोई और भी सबका 30 ही आ रहा है. Please, anyone else, please respond.
Yes, sir, 30 आ रहा है.
Okay जी. Same problem, but the weight retained is 4 kilograms. अब कितना आ रहा है? Another sample, 5 kilogram original weight, and after the test weight retained is 4 kilograms.
Sir, 20.
20 आ रहा है. Now,
Yes.
20.
based on this, what you say, okay, which material is more suitable, more better?
Sir, 20%
Sir,
वाला.
20 वाला.
Okay, बस यही highlight करना था कि more is the Los Angeles brain value. It indicates कि disintegration of the particles during the test is more as compared to the particles. So there is more. So these are the soft aggregates or soft particles. अदर वे राउंड जिसका 20 आ रहा है दैट इज बेटर, या अगर आपने दोनों में सिलेक्ट करना हो तो 20 वाला आप सिलेक्ट कर रहे होगे. Then durability or resistance to weathering. The durability of aggregate is commonly measured by the soundness test. ये हम soundness test को perform नहीं करेंगे, just but another very important test. Normally aggregates की general characterization में ये दो ही टेस्ट हो रहे होते हैं, either Los Angeles abrasion test or the soundness test. This test measures the resistance of aggregate to disintegration in saturated solution of sodium or magnesium sulfate. It simulates the weathering of aggregates that occur in nature. The test is made by immersing sized fraction of aggregates to be tested in saturated solution of sodium or magnesium sulfate. The aggregate is then removed and dried in an oven to a constant mass. The process is repeated for specified number of cycles, typically 5. After the repeated cycles of alternate wetting and drying, the aggregate is divided into fractions by sieving, and the percentage weight loss is determined for each fraction. The percentage loss is expressed as weighted average for a given sieve size. The percentage weighted average loss is the product of percentage passing that sieve and the percentage passing that sieve in the original material. The total of such values is the percentage loss test value. So it is resistance to weathering Then specific gravity or the water absorption. So a very, very important test regarding the aggregates. The specific gravity and water absorption of the aggregates are important properties that are required for the design of concrete or bituminous mixes. Weight, if you want to convert weight to volume or vice versa, volume to weight, you would be requiring the specific gravity of the material. The specific gravity of the solid is the ratio of its mass to that of an equal volume of distilled water at a specified temperature. Now, when you are going to carry out the specific gravity, तो अक्सर पूछ लेते हैं कि how you have measured this equal volume of distilled water. Basically, when you are going to submerge an aggregate, when you are going to submerge the aggregates, wait for a while. So basically, when you are going to submerge the aggregates in water, they displace water equal to their volume. So that is referred to as the equal volume of distilled water. वो करेंगे कैसे? Okay, you are going to weigh afterwards. You are going to weigh the aggregates in water. So weight loss in water, that is equal to the volume of the water being displaced by the aggregate. Aggregate may contain water permeable. A big volume or more mass. If the water can enter into those voids which are within the body of the aggregate, which are visible by microscope, या उसका आप अगर cut करके देखते हैं, then you would be able to see कि okay, this one is the solid mass और उसके अंदर ये जो हैं, these are also the voids. So they can be water permeable, they can be water impermeable. Water permeable का मतलब क्या है कि if the aggregates they are saturated with water, or if you are going to soak the aggregates in water, so water enter into those voids. When you are going to place the aggregates in oven, water evaporates. So water can enter, water can leave the voids. So they are the water permeable voids. In contrast to water impermeable voids, neither the water can enter into those voids. So that is just a cavity within an aggregate, within the body of an aggregate. So that is, one is water permeable voids and other one water impermeable voids. तो जब हम ये दो specific gravities की बात कर रहे हैं, one is the specific gravity, apparent specific gravity, and other one that is the bulk specific gravity. Apparent specific gravity, that is excluding the volume of the water permeable voids. Net volume of solids without including the volume of the water permeable void. So that is the apparent specific gravity. Bulk specific gravity, total volume of aggregates including the volume of the water permeable voids. Now, apparent specific gravity, that is computed on the basis of net volume of the aggregate. That is the volume excluding the water permeable voids. So you may write apparent specific gravity, weight over volume divided by unit weight of water. So what is that? That is basically the apparent specific gravity, weight, dry weight divided by net volume over unit weight of water. So this one is the apparent specific gravity, net volume of the aggregate, volume excluding the water permeable voids. Any confusion about it? Please, this is an important concept, so kindly, अगर कोई confusion है, you may ask again. Yes, anyone? Please, any question?
No, sir.
Okay, ये इस formula को write कर ले, इसकी basis पे अभी we are going to solve one numerical. Then apparent specific gravity, md dry mass of the aggregate, net volume of the aggregate excluding the volume of the water absorbed water, yeah, water permeable voids, and gamma w, that is the density of water, rather unit weight of water. Density rho से express करते हैं. तो इसको करेक्ट कर लीजिएगा अपनी स्लाइड्स में कि दैट इज द यूनिट वेट ऑफ वाटर गामा डब्ल्यू, और डेंसिटी अगर हो तो रो डब्ल्यू आ रहा होगा, तो एम डी ओवर वी एन divided by unit weight of water. Then comes the bulk specific gravity. Bulk specific gravity is computed on the basis of the total volume of the aggregates, including the volume of the water permeable voids and the dry mass VB, bulk volume of the aggregates, where VB is the total volume of the aggregates, including the volume of the absorbed water. So these two, they are used bulk specific gravity and apparent specific gravity. Now regarding the bulk specific gravity, ये भी नोट कर लें एक्सप्रेशन, नोट कर लें तो मुझे बता दीजिएगा so that I can proceed further. Have you noted it down?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now the difference between the, ये जो मैंने बोला है इसी की वर्ड्स में लिखा हुआ है, apparent and the bulk specific gravities accounts for the water permeable voids of the aggregates. One can measure the volume of such voids by weighing the dry aggregates dry and in saturated surface dry condition. Saturated surface dry condition, what is saturated surface dry condition? Soak the aggregates in water for 24 hours so that all the water permeable voids, they are being filled with water. Afterwards, take them out and dry the surface of the aggregate with the help of a towel. So what is that condition? Then when you are going to weigh them, that is the saturated surface dry condition. एक है आपने एग्रीगेट्स को ड्राई फॉर्म में वेट किया है, एक उसको सोक कर दें पानी में एंड आफ्टरवर्ड्स टेक देम आउट एंड देन dry the surface of the aggregate. When you dry the surface of the aggregate, the condition is saturated surface dry condition, that is with all the permeable voids being filled with water. The difference between the two mass is the mass of the absorbed water. The absorption of water is usually expressed as the percentage of the mass of the dry aggregate. Now there is one problem. The dry mass of a sample of aggregate is 1982 and the mass of saturated surface dry condition is 2006.7. The net volume of the aggregate is 734.4 centimeter. Find the apparent specific gravity, bulk specific gravity, and the percentage absorption. Kindly solve it. The dry mass of a sample of aggregate is 1982. The mass in the saturated surface dry condition is 2006.7. The net volume of aggregate is 734.4. The apparent specific gravity कितनी आ रही है? जी कितनी आ गई है पेरेंट स्पेसिफिक ग्रेविटी? Yeah, simple like a 1982 divided by 734.4, you get apparent specific gravity.
Sir, 2.98.
2.698.
2.698.
2.698.
What about the bulk specific gravity? Net volume is known to you. अब आपके पास ड्राई वेट भी है और सैचुरेटेड सरफेस ड्राई वेट भी है, दोनों को सब्ट्रैक्ट करेंगे तो व्हाट यू आर गेटिंग वेट ऑफ वाटर. सो weight of water is equal to the volume of water in the water permeable voids. कि पानी की डेंसिटी जो 1 ग्राम पर सेंटीमीटर क्यूब है, तो जितना उसका वेट होगा उतना ही उसका वॉल्यूम है. तो दोनों को सब्ट्रैक्ट करें, जितना आ रहा है वेट ऑफ वाटर इट इज इक्वल टू द वॉल्यूम ऑफ वाटर इन द voids. तो नेट वॉल्यूम में वॉल्यूम ऑफ वाटर ऐड करके यू गेट द बल्क वॉल्यूम. तो उसकी बेस पे ड्राई डिवाइडेड बाय बल्क वॉल्यूम आप बल्क स्पेसिफिक ग्रेविटी फाइंड आउट कर सकते हैं. कैलकुलेट करें कितनी आ रही है.
2.61.
2.61. Anyone else? Anyone else? Someone is saying 2.61. एक 2.698 आ रही है पहले की apparent
2.698.
698 और 2.61 आ रही है bulk specific gravity. Is it true?
Yes, sir.
Why? कैसे कह सकते हैं ठीक है? या रीजनिंग देना कि भी उसके डिनोमिनेटर में नेट वॉल्यूम है विच इज लेस, और उसके डिनोमिनेटर में बल्क स्पेसिफिक ग्रेविटी के डिनोमिनेटर में टोटल वॉल्यूम है या बल्क वॉल्यूम है. तो दैट इज व्हाई values they are okay, apparent specific gravity और bulk specific gravity. Now what about percentage absorption? ये आगे मैंने सॉल्व किया हुआ है. Mass of the absorbed water 247, volume of the absorbed water 24.7, bulk volume is this much. Apparent specific gravity 1982 divided by net volume which is given 2.699, and bulk specific gravity 2.611. Water absorption, weight volume of water divided weight of water divided by dry mass into 100, you are getting the percentage absorption. Any confusion in this problem? Yes, any confusion?
No, sir.
Now then we are going to start next part. This screen is visible to you, जिसमें ये chemical stability of the aggregates ये visible है.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, visible.
Okay, chemical stability of the aggregates, because you know in case of the varying surface we are going to use blended with bitumen. हमने उनको bitumen के साथ blend करना होता है. So chemical stability is must. Certain aggregates are unsuitable for particular highway construction because of the chemical composition of the aggregate particles. In asphalt mixes, certain aggregates that have an excess affinity for water may contribute to what is known as film stripping or leading to disintegration of the asphalt concrete. Now, if you remember, yesterday I told you that for a good quality roads, the basic criteria is good drainage. Now, if drainage is not good, what's going to happen? Water will stand on the road surface, or ponding of water, it should be over there. Why water is not good for roads? The reason is aggregates, they are being surrounded by bitumen coating, and with the help of this bitumen coating, they are being binded. They are having a bond with the other aggregate. Aggregate on the outer periphery, you are having a bitumen coating. Other aggregate, you are having a bitumen coating. In between them, there is a layer of bitumen. Now, if aggregates, they have affinity for water, what's going to happen? If they interact with water, they are going to absorb the water. When they absorb the water, the film of bitumen, that is being replaced by the film of water. Normally, bitumens, they are the hydrocarbons. With the passage of time, deterioration, it takes place, and as a result, when the bitumen bond becomes weak, so if bonding of water is over there, it is being, aggregates are being surrounded by water, and the film of bitumen, that is being replaced. So this phenomena is known as the film stripping. The bitumen in the bituminous mixture may be assumed to be present in the form of thin films surrounding the aggregate particles and filling or partially filling the void spaces between adjacent particles. These thin films of bitumen adhere to the surface of normal aggregate and contribute to the shearing resistance of the mixture. This effect being generally considered as a part of the cohesion of the mix. Okay, strength में contribute करता है या as the part of the cohesion of the mix. Now, on continued exposure to water, either in the laboratory or in the field, bituminous mixtures containing certain aggregates show a definite tendency to lose shearing resistance or strength because of a decrease in cohesion due to primarily replacement of the bituminous film surrounding the aggregate particles with similar films of water. So aggregates that is hydrophobic in nature is one which exhibits a high degree of resistance to film stripping in presence of water. Hydrophobic means to resist mixing with water or water hating. Okay, hydrophobic aggregates, they won't allow they don't like water, or they don't allow water absorption. Aggregates that exhibit least resistance to film stripping in presence of water are termed as the hydrophilic aggregates. Hydrophilic meanings water loving, और ये जो hydrophobic water hating or hydrophilic water loving. So hydrophilic aggregates, they are not recommended to be used in road construction. So the property of the aggregates to resist film stripping depends upon its electrolytic property of bitumen, and normally the available bitumens are anionic in nature. It is for this reason limestone which are positively electrolytic are hydrophobic, whereas quartz sandstones which are negatively electrolytic are hydrophilic. It is found that the rough surface of the aggregates and slight porosity increases adhesion and prevents stripping of the bitumen, while aggregates having weak crumbling surfaces should be avoided as they encourage stripping. In judging the relative resistance to film stripping of aggregates, various immersion stripping tests have been used. It includes static immersion test, immersion compression test. So these are the two tests. इनकी details में हम नहीं जा रहे. Rather than you must be knowing कि film stripping को measure करने के लिए immersion test, static immersion या immersion compression test, that is being used. This is known as the immersion mechanical test. Specification for aggregates used in the highway construction commonly have requirement related to particle shape, surface texture, and cleanliness of aggregates. Specification for aggregates used in bituminous mix usually require that aggregate should be clean, tough, durable in nature, and free of excess amount of flat or elongated particles, dust, clay balls, and other objectionable material. कैसे चेक कर रहे होंगे कि उस पे फ्लैकीनेस इंडेक्स, elongation इंडेक्स टेस्ट कर लें. उसकी अगर लिमिट से ज्यादा आ रहा है तो यू में रिजेक्ट द एग्रीगेट्स. Then sand equivalent is used to determine their relative proportions of plastic fines and dust in the fine aggregates. So particle shape, normally rounded to flaky or elongated particles, rounded, irregular, flaky, angular, elongated, flaky, and elongated. So important thing to remember is just you must be remembering these can be the probable shape of the aggregates. you must be remembering कि an angle a particle at one time it can be flaky as well as it can be an elongated particle. तो ये आपको याद रखना है कि वो elongated भी हो सकता है और flaky और both. Normally angular particles या they are being recommended for road construction और concrete वगैरह में rounded particles they can be used. जो source है rounded के लिए that is from the river or sea shores कि due to the surface water the particles of the जो boulders होते हैं river boulders they get smooth. Then irregular other gravels या आपके पास जो angular particles हैं आप crushing से या controlled rock blasting से you are getting these angular particles. Then surface texture is glassy, smooth, granular, rough, crystalline, honeycomb and porous. So अगर आप microscopic view कर रहे हैं या उसको micro details में जा रहे हैं तो you may be requiring what is the surface texture of the aggregates. And deleterious and friable particles. So friable particles to test for clay lumps or friable particles like if you talk about shale. So apparently when the shale it is in the dry form it appears as a stone or as a rock. But if you are going to place it in water so it dissolves जैसे अगर आप soap को पानी के अंदर place कर दें तो it is going to be dissolved with the passage of time. Same is the problem with the clay. So at times clay lumps they are very hard in the dry state, but when you are going to place them in water, they loses their strength drastically. So to test for clay lumps or friable particles, a sample is first washed and dried to remove material passing sieve number 200. The remaining sample is separated into different sizes and each size is weighted and soaked in water for 24 hours. Particles that can be broken down into fines with fingers are classified as clay lumps or the friable particles. The amount of this material is calculated by the percentage of total sample weight. कि पानी में dissolve पहले sieve analysis कर लें. Based on the sieve analysis, you get the segregation. Particle segregate हो जाएगा. उसके बाद उनको place कर दें water में for 24 hours. Next day उनको finger से crush करने की कोशिश. If they are going to be crushed, you say they are the friable particles. Otherwise, they are not the friable particles. Then specification usually limit clay and friable particles maximum to 1%. So friable particles की जो percentage है, it should not be more than 1%. ये याद रखनी है. The standard test procedure is described in ASHTO T112 or C142 clay lumps and the friable particles in the aggregates, not more than 1%. Now, if you look about this cross section, this is the cross section of the road जो आपकी flexible pavement है उसका cross section is like this. On the top you are having the surface, wearing surface. Then you are having the base course, you are having the sub base course. These two they are basically the stones. इसके अंदर stones और stone dust blend करके you have they are the unbound material. इसको roller से जो है you have compacted it. Then at the bottom you are having the subgrade which is the natural soil or maybe the transported soil. One important thing is when you have to go for the road investigations, you have to carry out various tests. The base course layer के ऊपर you may find out the relative compaction. Relative compaction क्या है? In-situ density at this point divided by the maximum dry density obtained in the lab. So in-situ density, what is that equal to? That is कि आप sand replacement से इसकी density find out कर लें या sand cone method से you are going to find out the density of this layer. Similarly sub base के लिए भी इसकी density आप find out कर सकते हैं from based on this sand replacement method. और sub grade के लिए you have to use the core cutter or sand replacement. At times पूछ लेते हैं कि in situ density find out करनी है base course की या sub base course layer की तो कौन सा test perform करेंगे. So core cutter is not possible wherever, even in the soil, if it contains gravels, you are not supposed to carry out the core cutter. So base course या sub base course में normally sand replacement से आप in situ density you are going to find out. So these are the requirements कि अगर आपको ये general specification देखें, that is just for your information. इनको याद नहीं करना, लेकिन जो different requirements हैं वो बेशक याद कर लीजिएगा कि CBR की कितनी रिक्वायरमेंट है, लॉस एंजल्स सब रेन वैल्यू की कितनी रिक्वायरमेंट है. तो ये जो है ना स्पेसिफिकेशंस में it is written like this: that item shall contain furnishing, spreading in one or more layers and compacting granular sub base according to the specifications and the drawings and or as directed by the engineer. Granular sub-base material shall consist of natural or processed aggregates such as gravels, sand, or stone fragments, and shall be clean and free from dirt, organic matter, and other deleterious substances, and shall be of such nature that it can be compacted readily under watering and rolling to form a firm, stable sub-base. The material shall comply with the following grading and quality requirement. जो granular sub base है उसके लिए these two A और B it can be used. A क्या है कि 2.5 इंच से 100% पास कर रहा है, 2 इंच से 90 to 100% it should pass, 1 inch से 50 to 80% it should pass, then number 4 से 35 to 70% it should pass, and number 200 से 2 to 8% it should pass. तो इसका आप ग्राफिकल प्लॉट भी कर सकते हैं, या अगर टेबल अवेलेबल है तो इससे कंपेयर कर लें अपनी ग्रेडिंग को, सीव एनालिसिस परफॉर्म करें, परसेंटेज पासिंग कैलकुलेट करें और कंपेयर कर लें आइदर इट इज सुटेबल granular subbase or it is unsuitable granular subbase. Then second one, grading A or grading B. So you can check coefficient of uniformity D60 over D10, say you can find out it should not be less than 3. The subbase material shall have a gradation curve within the limits for grading B. However, grading A may be allowed by the engineer in special circumstances. The material shall have a CBR, California bearing ratio, of at least 50%. जो 50% और जो इसकी वैसे रिक्वायरमेंट है CNW की इट इज 30% या 50%, आप वो देख लें कि कितनी चाहिए, CBR टेस्ट परफॉर्म करे, अगर वो 30 से ज्यादा आ रहा है गो फॉर इट, अगर वो 30 से ज्यादा नहीं आ रही then you 50 से ज्यादा नहीं आ रही then you may reject. The CBR shall be obtained at a density conform corresponding to 98% of the maximum dry density according to HO T180 कि जो CBR वैल्यू है it should be 98%. जो मैक्सिमम वैल्यू आ रही है कंपैक्शन कर्व से गामा डी मैक्सिमम उसको 0.98 से मल्टीप्लाई करके जो वैल्यू आ रही डेंसिटी आ रही है उसके अगेंस्ट CBR it should be more than 50. Then coarse segregate material receive number 4 shall have a percentage of wear by Los Angeles abrasion test of not more than 50. 50 से ज़्यादा Los Angeles abrasion value नहीं होनी चाहिए. In order to avoid intrusion of silty and clay material from subgrade into the subbase, D15 of subbase and D85 of subgrade should be less than 5. तो ये जो requirement है कि CBR की कितनी requirement है, उसकी कितनी requirement है, Los Angeles abrasion value की, then इसकी कितनी requirement है, ग्रेडिंग कौन सी यूज करनी है, दिस यू कैन चेक. जो आपका मटेरियल है उस पर टेस्ट परफॉर्म करें और उसको कंपेयर कर लें स्टैंडर्ड वैल्यू के साथ. देन यू से कि ग्रैनुलर सब बेस दैट इज गुड फॉर कंस्ट्रक्शन और ग्रैनुलर सब बेस दैट इज अनफिट फॉर कंस्ट्रक्शन. देन मैंने D85 और 15 का बता दिया, पार्टिकल टाइप कॉरेस्पॉन्डिंग टू 85% and 15% respectively by passing by weight in grain size analysis curve. The fraction passing sieve number 200 shall not be greater than 2/3 of the fraction passing sieve number 40. The fraction passing sieve number 40 shall have a liquid limit not greater than 25 and plasticity index of 6 or less. So these are the requirements for granular subbase. If oversized particles is encountered, screening of material at source shall invariably be done. No hand packing shall be allowed. However, hand picking shall be allowed. However, hand picking may be allowed by the engineer if oversized quantity is less than 5% of the total mass. Sand equivalent, that is one more test, should for all classes should be 25 minimum. So these are the requirements. अगर हम बात करें कि CBR कितनी चाहिए, लॉस एंजलिस अब्रेजन वैल्यू कितना चाहिए, लिक्विड लिमिट की क्या रिक्वायरमेंट है, प्लास्टिसिटी इंडेक्स की क्या रिक्वायरमेंट है, तो इन पे ये सारे टेस्ट परफॉर्म करके यू कंपेयर एंड देन यू से these aggregates they are fit to be used as granular subbase. ये aggregates हैं they are unfit to be used as granular material. The item then same is the case with the aggregate base course. The item shall consist of furnishing, spreading and compacting one or more layer of crust aggregate base course on prepared subgrade, subbase or existing road surface. जो existing road के ऊपर आप wearing surface remove करके road बना लेते हैं, that is referred to as overlay in accordance with the specifications under drawings and or as directed by the engineer. So overlay कि आपकी पहले रोड बनी हुई है, लाइक टेक द एग्जांपल ऑफ जीटी रोड, जब ऑरेंज टेंट बनी है तो इसके बाद द सरफेस ऑफ द रोड इट गेट्स वियर्ड, तो उसके ऊपर उन्होंने वेयरिंग सरफेस रिमूव करके दे प्लेस वन लेयर ऑफ ऑफ बेस कोर्स और उसके ऊपर दोबारा वो प्लेस कर दिया बेरिंग सरफेस. सो व्हाट इज दैट? दैट इज बेसिकली ओवरले रोड. ओके, अभी जो एग्जिस्टिंग कंडीशन अगर आप उसका क्रॉस सेक्शन कट करें तो इट्स सॉर्ट ऑफ एन ओवरले के ऊपर बेस कोर्स होगा, दोबारा आप बेस कोर्स के नीचे अगर एक्सकेवेट करें फिर बेस कोर्स मिल जाएगा, देन सब बेस, देन सब ग्रेड. Material for crushed aggregate base course shall consist of crushed hard durable gravel rocks or stone fragments. It shall be clean for dirt, organic matter and other clay material, shall be of such nature that it can be compacted readily under watering, rolling to form a firm stable base for both flexible and rigid pavements. The crushed aggregate base course shall comply with the following grading requirements. जैसे उसकी grading requirements थी, you may see इसकी भी अपनी grading requirements हैं. So starting from 2 inches, you must not be having particle more than 2 inches. अगर 2 inches ज़्यादा है तो it is regarded as the oversized particle. So oversize के लिए मैं 5% की जो है that is the limit. तो इसको चेक कर लें. Now coefficient of uniformity shall be greater than 4 and the material is well graded. So grading A में लायक कर रहा है या grading B में लायक कर रहा है. Like I gave you an example in the last lecture. अगर ये if it is not going to fall in any grading, then you may reject the aggregates based on the grading requirement. The gradation curve of the material shall be smooth and within the limits for grading A or B. Crush aggregates shall consist of material of which at least 90% by weight shall be wait for a while. So 90% by weight shall be crushed particles having a minimum of 2 fractured faces. The Los Angeles, the coarse aggregate shall have a Los Angeles abrasion value of not more than 30. Same, the material shall not have less than 12% when subjected to 5 cycles of sodium sulfate soundness test. The sand equivalent should be 45, should not be less than 45. Sub base के case में it is 25. Base course के case में it is 45. The portion of the filler including any blended material passing sieve number 40 shall have a liquid limit not more than 25 and a plasticity index not more than 4 when tested in accordance with ASTO 89 or T90. The material passing sieve number 19 shall have a CBR value of 80%. The CBR value shall be obtained at maximum dry density. जैसे सब बेस कोर्स में 0.98 ऑफ मैक्सिमम ड्राई डेंसिटी किया था, इस केस में 100% ऑफ द मैक्सिमम ड्राई डेंसिटी के ऊपर आपने सीबीआर फाइंड आउट करनी है. सीबीआर टेस्ट परफॉर्म कर लिया ना आपने जियोटेक 2 में?
Yes, sir.
So laminated material shall not exceed 15% of the total volume of crushed aggregate. So then filler for blending कि आपके कोर्स एग्रीगेट हैं, अब उनके दरमियान जो voids हैं, जैसे बेस कोर्स है या सब बेस कोर्स है, उसको voids को फिल करने के लिए you would be requiring the filler. Normally stone dust, जो crushing of the stones से आपके पास material आ रहा है, which is a stone dust that is being used to fill the voids. The material for such purposes shall be obtained from sources approved by the engineers. The material shall be free from organic matter, dirt, shale, clay, and clay lumps or other deleterious matter. A filler, in addition to that, naturally present in crushed aggregate base coarse material is necessary for meeting the grading requirement or for satisfactory bonding of the material. It shall be uniformly blended with the base coarse material at the crushing plant or in the pot mill, unless otherwise approved. So the filler material shall conform to the following requirements. 3/8 से 100% pass करें, 4 से 85 to 100% it should pass. Plasticity index maximum 6 or sand equivalent 30. However, combined aggregates prepared by mixing coarse material and filler shall satisfy the requirement as mentioned above. So base course or sub base course के लिए you would be requiring the aggregates, you would be requiring the filler. इनको आपस में blend करके what you are getting, you are going to compact them. पानी sprinkle कर रहे होते हैं, so that is why it is referred to as the water bound mechanism. या base course को at times you say water bound macadam. Sub base coats, aggregates or stones of inferior quality, filler और जो बेस कोर्स है स्टोन्स ऑफ सुपीरियर क्वालिटी. वैसे भी इफ यू हैव ऑब्जर्व कि सीबीआर की रिक्वायरमेंट या उसकी रिक्वायरमेंट जो लॉस एंजल्स और ब्रियन वैल्यू की दैट इज मोर इन केस ऑफ द बेस कोर्स मटेरियल एज कंपेयर टू द सब बेस कोर्स मटेरियल. सो वी आर गोइंग टू स्टॉप एट दिस पॉइंट. अगले लेक्चर में वी वुड बी डिस्कसिंग अबाउट द बिटुमिनस मटेरियल्स के हमने एग्रीगेट्स की बात कर ली, उनकी क्या रिक्वायरमेंट है, फिलर की बात कर ली. अब नेक्स्ट we would be discussing about the bituminous material के हाईवे में जो मटेरियल यूज हो रहा है उसके लिए bituminous मटेरियल की क्या क्या होनी चाहिए, characteristics होनी चाहिए. So any questions regarding today's lecture? Yes, any questions regarding today's lecture?
No, sir.
So कल वाला लेक्चर मैंने अपलोड कर दिया था, उसमें कुछ पार्ट आज वाले लेक्चर का भी था, बाकी ये जो लेक्चर नंबर 2 है ये भी मैं अपलोड कर दूंगा. So go through it. Inshallah ta'ala next week में we will be meeting on campus. So any questions regarding yesterday's or today's lecture? Yes, any questions?
No, sir.
Okay, it's all from my side. तो यार ये देख लें जो लोग प्रेजेंट हैं, एब्सेंट हैं, उनका मुझे लिख के भेज दीजिएगा एक व्हाट्सएप पे बेशक हाथ से एक पेज पे. तो बाकी काइंडली ये जो एलएमएस पे रजिस्टर तो करें. आई थिंक सो आपके सेक्शन के 7-8 लोग ये भी रजिस्टर्ड हैं. तो इट इज इंस्ट्रक्शन फ्रॉम द चेयरमैन ऑफिस that do ask the students to register. So please register as early as possible. जो issues हैं आपके resolve करें, फीस से related हैं या और कोई issue है तो do register as early as possible. ठीक हो गया जी? Any questions? Okay, it's all from my side. Allah Hafiz.